scratches here because of the fact they drive their cars. I would give them the full score on that. And many, I was going to add about the unrestored cars or the preservation class, but that's a separate class. But basically, we tend to be more lenient on original stuff. That usually doesn't include paint with these cars, but paint and finish is one of the main issues for judging Packards, especially Packards. But again, you have to be tough, because a car that was restored the previous week is going to be better than a car that was restored 6 months or so ago. But again, it's a case of how you look at the car and how it's done. I know I've judged many times with Neil, and you have any words of wisdom, Neil, about paint and finish?
No, but an interesting way to judge the paint finish is to take a finer print even than this and just hold it against the door. You should be able to read this.
Right.
In the door itself.
Right.
I've seen people run their hands around fenders to see if there's any lead in there or anything, which isn't really part of the paint.
Right, right.
I've seen that too. No.
You have to read backwards. If you have, let's say you have a you have a flaw in the paint, maybe a scratch. What is more forgiving, to leave the scratch or to touch it up?
No, I would touch it up. But if it just happened on the way to the show, I wouldn't be too critical of it. Yeah, it would.
So if you touch it up and you do a good job in doing some color sanding, but it's still visible, it's better than having a scratch.
Yes, yes, definitely so. Neil, how do the new paints compare to the paints they used to have years or so ago? Are the new paints better, or are they worse than when you used to have them?
I don't know. My 54 is painted in lacquer with no clear coat, of course. And you know, I'm not really a chemist, so you know, all I do is look at them. But the modern paint jobs seem to be, I guess, as glossy as the lacquer was.
Right.
Because they're all pretty much a base coat, clear coat, as far as I know.
Right. And I suggest that anybody who's doing this coach work and top should read that, because there's some things that are involved with coach work and top, which are, and some things which aren't. So there are things to look at that you would not normally think that would be important, but are part of the judging portion. Rubber grommets and things like that. Metal side mounts are judged with the in this category. And we always judge the cars with the top up, and it's very important to see the top. The trouble with that sometimes is if somebody likes to drive their open car with the top down, a lot of times it takes a toll on the top sometimes. But again, we like to be lenient in the fact that these cars are driven.
Do you require the boot to be also displayed?
I usually don't. But if it's there, I think that's fine.
And the side curtains?
Side curtains, you should have them, definitely, yes.
The car had it within the new.
Right. I have my side curtains. I use them. You don't have to use it very often in California, but sometimes it's pretty cold. Anybody have any comments on coach work?
Identifying what are we talking about when we talk about coach work and top? You know, you're not talking about body work. Coach work is, for instance, would a convertible top be considered coach work?
Yes.
Okay, and if it is, then you look at how straight are the lines as the windows go up. Are they straight? Is the convertible canvas top that's put on the car, is it of the right material? Is it for the right era? And is it nice and firm? And sometimes you see convertible tops and it looks like an unmade bed. And
right.
You know, what do you take off on that? And then as far as coach work, again, using that 37 as an example, you basically, when you're judging a car, maybe sometimes you look at a car like this, you look to how things are fitting, how they're spaced, and you basically take in the car. You're not looking at the color, you're not looking at the chrome, you're looking at coachwork and top. So if there's any questions you have, ask, while we're talking about it. Because I think really the definition of what is it that we're looking at. Because you may see the guy might have a cracked glass. Do you take off of that? Do you take off for, well, there's a blemish on the chrome. Well, that's on chrome and glass, and that's completely different from you. Neil, if there's any questions, thoughts, you and Tom?
All through these categories in the Classic Car Club, tie goes to the runner. Like if you're questioning whether that's leather or vinyl, and you get into a discussion, and if you don't have anybody else around, would you give the owner the choice on that, or how does that work?
I leave it up to the owner, but if there's somebody more knowledgeable, I'll check with them, basically. One thing on the top, you have a lot of cars in here, Robert, with convertible tops. How do you suggest people clean those tops? Or how do you clean them, or do you just vacuum them?
Well, Gerhard and Adrian are working on a patent right now. And they get 60%, I succumb to the 40. But after you've finished and you have a nice top, and that's interesting you say that because you can see the plastic covers keeps them brand new. And if you want to see how much dirt gets on them, you can just run your finger on the top and just through. So you don't have that, you want to clean the top. What's the best way to clean it? Well, for us, a lot of times is a brush and air. You don't all have that available to you. So some people will tend to say, you know what, I'll go buy chemicals and I'll spray that spot. And many times there's a ring that will never go away. And so hot water sometimes is a great way, but if you're cleaning a top, I wouldn't recommend you give any advice to cleaning a top unless he's a trimmer, because that is such a, and that was always an issue with us of why we did those, because you would get them out to a show and it'd be a nice dew that would set over the car, and then all of a sudden the sun would come out and now you've got these marks on the top and you're like, oh my gosh, how do we clean that?
Yeah.
So it is, hi Diane, it's Diane Reedy. During the day, you just peel it back and put it away.
Okay, so in other words, we will not judge the car with this plastic.
No, that's just to protect it. Like a seat cover, a mat. Most of those things, seat covers, mats, you hopefully remove.
Right.
The byword with any judging is cleanliness.
Right.
That's the whole, if the cars are vacuumed and cleaned and just not blatant. I know sometimes we've had judges that would, and this stems from years and years ago. There was an infamous or famous guy. His name was Lucius Beebe. And Lucius made this big deal, and it was where he had an electric golf cart, and he would drive around, and he'd have a champagne in a bucket, and as he would judge the cars, he would go over, and as he would judge the cars, he would put a white glove on. And he would walk around inside, if it was upholstery, he'd sit there, and he would never talk to you about it. He would just look at the glove, put it, and then, I mean, it was just more of a grandstanding. And he'd come back and say, very nice car, take a sip of champagne, and I'll say, go. So I think what people would do is people would tend to take that. It's true, Lucius Beebe, look him up. Packard International is a driving club. These are the people's cars. I always say, be thoughtful, but not critical. Right?
Right. We don't get under the cars and look to make sure there's no dust on the frame. Except with a lot of the pre-war cars, a lot of the undersides are visible without having down on your knees and go under the car. So you would judge those, but we don't go down and go under the car.
Judging is on one knee, and you just look and you get up. I know that a couple of times at judging, somebody has said, is he supposed to be doing that? This was at other events. And I go, well, what is it? He says, he's underneath the car, and you can just see his tennis shoes on. Not supposed to be doing, that's not how that happened to Ed and Kit McCormick. And
Tom Gooding at Newport.
Right.
The car next to me, he spent 20 minutes on that, underneath it.
time, and Larry Simons had just finished a 37 Packard 12, and they Roadster, and he was showing it, and it was at another car show. Well, the judge was so critical. Larry was sitting on the running board, and Larry's high pressure anyway. He said, "Oh, you know what? I can't believe that you're judging. You know what? I think I'm having a heart attack." And the guy's like, sure enough, Larry was having a heart attack, and they had to lead him out to paramedics. The judge was basically, I mean, I tease Larry today because, you know, the old story, "You're killing me, Larry." Yeah, Larry, you're killing me, Larry. Yeah.